Just like that, we live.
Love to hear that. Excited to be back after another short layoff.
You already know, man. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad at all.
All that matters is we're here. We're back at it.
We are.
And I'm going to do my best to bring the energy because I know you always have the energy, right?
I do.
So
I try.
I got to match that. So that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to make it our best episode yet. And I'm going to match your energy. And it's going to be a great one.
Let's go for it. I love to hear that, baby.
Yeah.
That's some good energy right there. You're starting off strong already. So
there we go.
I appreciate that. All right. Let's go ahead and get into it, man. I do want to do one test really fast, though.
Sure thing. Let's test it out.
There you go.
Yeah. Good catch. Yes, sir.
Hey, and I don't know if you have audio right now.
Testing. Check.
Good.
Yeah. Guys, thanks for hanging with us through the slight technical difficulties. We're getting there.
All right, let's do it.
All right. We're doing the best we can.
Give me a quick mic check.
Okay, mic check 1, 2, 3.
And we live. Let's do it.
Okay, here we go. Hey, just like we said at the top, I'm going to do my best to try and match Russ's energy because he always does a great job of bringing his 100%. Me, not so much, not all the time. You know, I got to do my best tonight, and that's what I'm going to try to do. We're going to have our best show yet. Let's do it.
Yes, sir. And with that being said, man, welcome to the Sportaholics, man. We are entering March Madness, but before we get to March Madness, we got a couple things that we need you guys to do. If you are watching at home, man, go ahead and follow us on all social media platforms. That's at Thee Sportaholics on Instagram and X. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel already, please, what are you waiting for, man? Click that subscribe button, leave a comment below, join the conversation. Let's get the ball rolling. Peyton, me and Peyton, we always talk behind the scenes, and we always, talk about how we need to get back on the right track. So just a transparent moment right now. We will get back on track where we are coming to you guys every week. We have a for sure outline schedule for you guys, but life does what it does sometimes, and you got to roll with the punches at some point. So with that being said, Peyton, how you feeling today, man?
Man, I'm feeling pretty good. Aside from the allergies I'm experiencing, if any of you all are in Central Florida, you know what I'm talking about with the downpour of pollen.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, that was a tongue twister right there. But I think we're almost out of the pollen season, so doing pretty good overall. Like I said, I'm going to try to match Russ's energy tonight because he always brings it, so I owe him that. I got to bring it too.
Yeah, man. But I'm sorry you're going through that, but with all that being said, man, I hope you're ready to give the people the energy that you already mentioned before. So let's go ahead and jump into it, man. Today, guys, we are talking about the home stretch of the NBA season. Playoff time is right around the corner, and it's about to get really, really exciting for the NBA. Free agency is happening. It's currently happening. We've seen a lot of major moves happen in the NFL already. So we'll touch on those for our Florida teams here, and then we'll go ahead and touch on March Madness. And that's one of the most exciting times, not only for the teams that are entering March Madness, but for the people that's sitting at home who have created their brackets, Peyton, have you created your bracket already?
Not yet, but Russ knows this better than anybody. I am going to maximize my opportunity and fill out as many brackets as I can, which seems pretty crazy. I think the ESPN Tournament Challenge app allows you to fill out 25. I'm going to see if I can get there. What say you?
Yeah, I do not. I don't fill out brackets. I'm sorry. I can't do that because it's almost impossible, you know. And I guess that's the fun part about it. Just knowing that you're doing something that's impossible. It's kind of like playing the lottery. You never know, right?
That's right.
I know some people who fill out multiple brackets. Why, I have no idea, but I can't get with it. I like to just watch basketball for exactly what it is. You could call me a lame, whatever the case may be, but
I'll get him to fill out at least one. Okay.
You always say that. Peyton always trying to make me do something I don't want to do.
Oh man.
You know, I don't know if that's peer pressure or just a bad influence, but I'm here for it.
No, we have ultimate team chemistry. That's not true.
If you can get me to fill out a bracket, you're a good guy. You're good. You're very persuasive.
We're going to put that to the test.
All right, Peyton, man, let's go ahead and jump into it with the Orlando Magic, man, and the Miami Heat. Let's talk some NBA basketball.
That's right. Let's do it. So in the Southeastern Division, you know, it's all jumbled up right now. It seems like all of the teams in that division, aside from the Charlotte Hornets and Washington Wizards, are in that play-in spot.
Yep.
I think currently the Magic are 8, the Heat are 9, and the Hawks are 7.
Yep.
So it's all jumbled up. And I know, with the exception of the Heat and the Magic, who have already played all of their 4 games against each other, there are still games to be played amongst those teams down the stretch. Obviously, a pretty underwhelming division thus far. The winner of the division is probably going to have a record that is below 500. So with that said, still trying to vie for the playoffs in a potential play-in tournament setting and scenario.
Yep.
Magic got a big win today at Cleveland, snapping their 15 or 16 game winning streak.
Yes, sir. It was 16 games. Yep.
It was 16.
Yep.
Okay. I've been watching the Heat here and there, obviously not as much as the Magic lately, but I know they're hanging in there as well to some extent. I'll go back to what we said last episode, in that I think you can rely on the Heat to put out a more consistent product to some degree, whereas the Magic may have higher upside, although the shooting numbers have been abysmal this year, which is a big reason that the Magic have been held back in their own right. But I still see the same points that we made last time we were on. You know, many of those points are still valid to this day.
Yeah,
so,
and you mentioned this a little bit earlier off camera, but you did say that not much has changed in those bottom 4 teams. They're pretty much still in the same spot. If not, they've changed 1 or 2 positions, but not much has changed ever since then. But my question to you, Peyton, since you mentioned and you brought up the Magic win over the Cleveland Cavaliers, is that an important win, or was it the Cavaliers just kind of taking their foot off the gas? Because they are sitting at the number 1 seed right now. So have they taken their foot off the gas and this game just didn't mean too much to them? Or is this something that is big going into the playoffs for the Orlando Magic?
I'm gonna try to meet you somewhere in the middle there.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Cavs still came out trying to play their A game today, and the Magic just came out on top. I don't think it's it's obviously a pretty big win for the Magic, because you just beat the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference on the last game of a road trip to go over 500 on that road trip. So it's certainly a big win. You know, is it the biggest win of the season or not? I'm not sure, but it's just another one of the 82 that the Magic needed more than the Cavs.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say about it. And they're coming back home here to play some important games against some other Eastern Conference foes. So better to have it than not, for sure.
Yeah, I'll agree with you there. It's better for the Magic to have it than to not have it at all. But if we're looking at it, I would say it's important, you know, finding ways to win based off of the injuries that they have,
Right.
everything that's going on in the organization. So I think this game right here, and they were already on a win streak. So on both sides, it says a lot. If you understand where I'm coming from, like for the Cavaliers, it's like, hey, we don't need to continue the streak. We're not going to break any records. Hey, whatever, let them have it. For the Magic, we need Paulo to get right. We need Franz to get right. We're still without Jalen Suggs, so we need to figure out how to win without him if we plan on making a deep run into the playoffs. Also, no telling where the Magic will be, but if they do end up playing the Cavaliers, who they took to Game 7 last year in the playoffs, if they end up playing them, they really need to figure out how they play the game and what they're going to do in order to get past them this year in the playoffs. And
right.
I hate to say it. I hate to say it, Peyton.
What's up?
But I don't know if it's going to happen this year if we played the Cavaliers.
That's fair to say. And I love that you brought that up, the fact that we played the current number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference last year and pushed them to 7 games. And I have a little nugget here on the Magic. So let's just take the number 1 overall pick in 3 consecutive drafts and sandwich Paolo Banchero in the middle to give the Magic season some context, right?
Okay.
So in 2021, you had Cade Cunningham, who plays for the Pistons. 2022, you got Paolo, who plays for the Magic. 2023, you got Victor Wembanyama, who plays for the Spurs.
Okay.
So Paolo in the middle, right? So the timeline pretty fair there. The Pistons are starting to win now. Unfortunately, Wembanyama went out with that season-ending injury. The Magic have had an underwhelming season. I bring all those points up to say that as underwhelming and as unfortunate as this season has been for the Magic, of those 3 players, only one of them has playoff experience up to this point.
Yeah.
And it's the guy that plays for the Magic.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And right now, that team is still vying for a playoff spot.
Yeah.
So Jalen Suggs, Franz Wagner, and Paolo Banchero have played a combined games of 6 together so far this season. So yes, there's a lot of frustration to this point in the season, but you know me, I'm always going to look at the positive side of things. And they're giving themselves a chance right now. And today was a great start to the rest of the season with a big win in Cleveland. So it is what it is.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you for always being so optimistic when it comes to Magic basketball. I mean, it's the same thing with me, especially when it comes to the Miami Heat. I like to see the good, even when I don't understand exactly what they have going on. And I say that to say, I understand that Jimmy Butler wasn't happy or whatever the case may be. And now's the time where we need to rely on the players that we have on our roster. And they've done a good job of doing that throughout the years, right? I don't know where it will get them this year. I would love to see them have that Cinderella story.
Which they had 2 years ago.
And that's exactly what I was alluding to. Like, I would love to see them have that Cinderella story that they had a couple years ago, where they just came out of nowhere and they just figured out ways to win. But I don't see that happening either. But we mentioned this in our last episode, Peyton. The one thing that I do want to see is the Magic play the Heat in either the play-in tournament or the playoffs.
Electric.
Yeah, that would be great. And
a sight to behold.
Both teams will they have the opportunity to travel. Just being because it's in state, it's only 3 hours and a half away from each other. So I think that both teams have an opportunity to travel to each other's arenas, and that's honestly, that's my best bet and that I'm going for right now when it comes to the Heat and the Magic. But other than that, man, I think the Heat have a lot to improve on and this offseason right now. And I'm not chalking up this season just quite yet, but I will say they have a lot to build on when it comes to the offseason. And hear me right now when I say this, Peyton.
Okay.
I feel like the Heat are going to make a major splash in the offseason.
it seems like it's about time to do something like
Yeah.
that if you're a Miami Heat fan or part of the Miami Heat.
Yeah.
It seems like that time is coming. And I will say this, I think I was a little short-sighted with the whole Jimmy Butler situation. Maybe things had just ran their course at that point with Jimmy Butler. You know what I mean?
For sure. For sure. I mean, he came in, he did what he needed to do. He got us where we wanted him to get us to. We just couldn't figure out how to bring it home. You know, not once, but twice.
Yeah.
Not once, but twice. So,
Yeah.
listen, shout out to Jimmy Butler. You know, again, that's a player that I might not always agree with, but he did exactly what we needed him to do. And the last time that the Heat was in the playoffs, which was what, 22? 22, 23?
I guess 23, yeah.
Yeah, 23. He was shorthanded.
Yeah.
He was
Well, they
shorthanded.
made it last year, but lost to Boston first round because Jimmy was hurt.
Right.
So, yeah.
But I'm saying in the finals.
Yeah,
the last
in the
time we were in
finals,
the finals.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like,
yeah. So there's obviously less margin for error with the Heat now, and Tyler Hero has to play his A game for the Heat to have a chance
and I don't like
against a contender.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
it's tough.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough for the Miami Heat, but we live, we learn, and like that's the main reason why I'm thinking that it's gonna be a major splash coming in the offseason. Because Tyler Hero, while I like Tyler Hero's game, he's not that guy. He's not that guy. He's never proven to be that guy. We tried to get him off a couple times, and we haven't been able to do so. So yeah, man.
And maybe this is just a transition period anyway. Maybe the Heat have known all along that, you know, inevitably he's not going to be the best player on a championship team, but is he capable of being the second best? I don't know.
I don't know either, Peyton.
Yeah.
I think that this is a kid with a lot of character. He has a lot of confidence in his abilities, and I love that for him. But he can't be the one. And if he can be the two, that's still up for discussion.
Sure.
But as of right now, if you want to win, he has to be the three.
That's probably fair.
And he's playing in the number one spot right now. So let's go ahead and move on, Peyton.
All right,
I think we've been talking about Magic and Heat for too long for two teams that's probably not going to win the championship.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But we love our
hometown teams.
Yeah, we love our in-state teams, man. So before we move on, actually, I'll get to that a little bit later. Let's go ahead and talk some free agency in the NFL. Let's do it.
Why not, man? Let's do it. I'll kick us off there, starting with the Miami Dolphins.
Let's go, fans.
So here's the thing, right? You start talking about free agency in the NFL. It's a bit of a risky proposition to me, because you're doling out a lot of money to a guy that's probably older. You're probably not getting a bunch of value there. But Russ, about a year ago, actually this time during last year's free agency, I did a little experiment myself to see where the contending teams in the NFL were spending their money, like at what positions.
I remember you talking about this. Yep.
Yeah. So if anything, as far as where you want to put your money as a contender, it's going to be along each side of the line of scrimmage. So what I like about what the Dolphins did this free agency period was invest in the offensive line. And it's as simple as that. I mean, you can go draft receivers, you can draft defensive backs. Who knows who's going to get hurt throughout the course of a season, but if I'm going to put money somewhere, I might as well invest into those guys up front. And I think that's what the Dolphins did. They signed a guard, they signed a center, they signed a swing tackle, especially expecting the retirement of Teron Armstead, their star left tackle. So I think that's a good start for the Dolphins. I hate that they lost Javon Holland, but they did sign a guy from the Detroit Lions safety. It's hard to pronounce his first name, but I know his last name is Melifonwu.
Yeah.
And I really like him. I watched him a lot when he was in college, playing his college ball at Syracuse. So, Yeah, that there's a lot of risk involved with free agency, right? But what we can say is what the contending teams are doing. That's kind of how the Dolphins approached free agency this time around. So I like what they did there. What say you?
Yeah, no, I think this was a given that they needed to address the offensive line because they could not protect Tua for anything. In the past 3 seasons, they could not protect Tua. So at some point in time, they had to address that. It was probably in his contract that they that they would draft. I mean, not draft, but they would find some way to protect him somehow, some way, and it had to be soon because this guy. For him to get all that money and not be able to play out his contract, it would be terrible. But yeah, no, I think it's a sad day because uh we lost Javon Holland, but we did get a replacement. So
Yeah.
anything coming out of Detroit, I like it. That is a very blue collar team. He's been coached up very well. The lifestyle is going to be different in Miami. So that's the one thing that I always think about when it comes to players coming from hard-nosed organizations and coming to play for the Dolphins, because when you live in Miami, it's a different lifestyle. The culture is different. While we have been kind of at the top of the middle of the pack in the past couple of seasons, we can't really figure out how to get over that hump. And I think that's because of the culture of the city of Miami.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I think that goes without saying. Like, you have nightclubs. The city never closed. You can leave a game. You can leave a game and you can go out and you can hang out till 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. You could be out till 7 o'clock in the morning and have practice the next day. Practice probably starts. They probably want you in the building 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, whatever the case may be. But there's a lot of distractions there. And, but needless to say, I'm kind of getting off track here, but needless to say, I think that it's very important that the Dolphins decided to actually build some depth at the offensive line position, because that's exactly what we needed. This draft may be a little bit boring for Miami fans.
And by the way, the Dolphins could invest into that position again in the draft, which I'm sure you wouldn't mind.
No, we're gonna need it. On both fronts, the offensive side and the defensive side, we need depth. And it showed all throughout last season. I'm not looking for fireworks. I didn't expect fireworks to happen this year and free agency or in the offseason. Yep. So I'm here for it. Whatever it takes to get us better. We have lightning fast running backs, lightning fast wide receivers. Our defensive backfield is always ever changing. But we still got Jalen Ramsey.
That's right.
We did lose Holland. But
already found a replacement for him, like
Melifonwu. We picked up Melifonwu. I already know he's gonna play well in Miami. I just hope that he comes down here and he brings some of that character that they had in Detroit with him, especially on that defensive side of the ball. And you know what? The one thing I will say, and I'm gonna say this, and then we can move on because I know you want to talk Jags.
Sure.
But to me, I like the Miami Dolphin version of Jalen Ramsey. He seems pretty hungry. Now he has had his injury, but he seems pretty hungry, and he's been playing lights out, to be honest with you. Like,
when healthy,
yes. Yeah, this is a guy who
still garners a ton of respect around the league, even at his older age of, I think he's 30 or 31.
Right.
So
I think that this is a guy who was almost out of the NFL. So, I mean, I'm not going to say he was almost out the NFL, but nobody knew exactly where his mind was when it came to what he wanted to do. So, yeah, bro. I'm happy. I'm happy for him. But let's go ahead and move on to the Jags.
Let's do it.
And
good wrap up with the Dolphins there.
Yeah,
Again,
man.
just to sign off on that topic, overall, I like their approach.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens next season. As far as the Jaguars go, they were a bit more aggressive in free agency as far as spending money and doling out money.
Yep.
And this is the youngest general manager in the NFL, in James Gladstone. He's 34 years old, Russ. Can you believe that?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's a bit of a different approach. And ultimately, it's a big question mark because, unproven commodity as a general manager in the front office role. So who knows how it's going to pan out for the Jags. But I will say this. They had a similar approach to free agency that the Dolphins did, and that was going and attacking the trenches. And that's where you want to spend your money. And, they went out and got a guy from the Ravens. They went out and got a guy from the Buccaneers, who Liam Cohen is obviously very familiar with. So to say it shortly and bluntly, again, I just like the approach as far as where we're going to spend our money and then drafting at other positions. The Jags definitely have more holes in the secondary than the Dolphins had. So they had to go get guys like Eric Murray from the Texans, Jordan Lewis from the Cowboys to shore up the safety positions. And their secondary was not good at all last year. So hopefully they get an uptick in production at that position. But really, two teams that mirror each other in a sense. The Dolphins have higher ground to stand on, but they approached free agency the same way. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it all comes together. I think the big X factor at this point for each of those teams is similar in that you want to see how those two offensive lines come together for each of those units and how they can protect each of those young quarterbacks.
Absolutely.
That's the name of the game, right? So, I mean, for example, going out of Florida for a second, we know that the Chicago Bears' new head coach, what's his name? Now I'm blanking on his name, of course. Ben Johnson from the Detroit Lions. What did he do? He went and got Joe Thuney from the Chiefs, a left guard, and they signed another offense. So it's no secret, what you want to do in free agency this time of the year. So
right.
I like what both of those teams did.
And that goes back to your point, though, Peyton. You mentioned where teams are spending their money, right? Protection is the most important part of the game of football. If you can't run the ball, if you can't pass the ball, if you don't have any time to pass the ball, you're not setting yourself up for success in the game of football. So that excellent breakdown from you, excellent analysis from you. And going back to what you were saying about the Jags and them building out their offensive line, this is another team, and granted, they are also in the state of Florida. This is another team who needed to have they needed to build out the offensive front because they have a potentially great quarterback.
Yep.
Right.
But has an injury history.
He has an injury history because he hasn't been well protected. So both of these teams have quarterbacks who have injury history. One a little bit easier to get over than the other. But if you protect these guys, a lot of things can come out of both of these cities, right? And we haven't even touched on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers yet.
That's right.
So with that being said, man, I don't have much for the Jacksonville Jaguars, but I do know that they needed to build around Trevor Lawrence, and they have an outstanding young wide receiver going into his second year. And
I think we're really just not overthinking or outthinking the room here.
Yeah.
It's basic football 101, right? And that's what you just hit on. I mean, it starts up front.
Yeah.
So that's where you want to spend your money. And
yeah, man. So let's go ahead and move on to March Madness. March Madness is here. Yep. Peyton, how are you feeling? We only have one team that's representing the state of Florida, and and
March
March
in the
Madness.
bracket.
So
That is pretty
what
crazy.
say you? So we do have a comment here.
Okay.
Mr. Cherry Coke
Oh,
on
all right.
YouTube says Auburn, Florida, Arizona, and Kentucky in the Final Four.
Oh, I like that. I like that he's got Arizona in there. That's not a chalky pick because if I remember correctly, I believe they're a 4 seed.
Okay.
You said Auburn was another one. They're
Yep.
arguably the best team in the country, so I'm okay with that. He had Florida in there, and then the other one was
Arizona and Kentucky.
Kentucky. Kentucky's a tough one. I think they have the potential to get there. They've been banged up all season long.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that. I like that he didn't just go chalk.
Yeah.
We know that's not how it's going to roll. So
Yeah.
I love those picks.
Yeah, man. And we just actually, and I know this is not Florida, but we just saw a good game between Duke and UNC the other night, by the way. Cooper flagless Duke, by the way. But it is what it is. I mean, and UNC still couldn't pull out the upset. I don't even know if it was supposed to be an upset, but they didn't pull out the win. So
if you don't mind, I'm going to jump on that real quick because that's the first point I have here.
Yeah.
Russ, I don't know if you know this. North Carolina was the literal last team in the tournament.
Wow.
They were the last one to make that field of 68. By the way, they've underwhelmed this season. They don't have a bunch of quad one wins. That's not exactly a team that you want to lace up your shoes and just play against.
Yeah.
They got a lot of talent over there.
Yeah.
Okay, RJ Davies, Elliot Cadeau, Seth Trimble coming off the bench. I mean, they're an 11 seed and they have to play before the first round because they're in that play-in scenario.
Yep.
But I don't know.
Yeah, man.
I mean, and you just hit on it. They played Duke, right? Without Cooper Flagg, that game went down to the wire.
Yes.
And we know Duke is more than just one player. You know, they still have a lot to offer. So that tells you a lot about the depth that we have in this tournament.
Oh, yeah.
The last team in pushed Duke all the way to the final buzzer. So
this is going to be a tournament for the ages, bro. This is going to be this is the ultimate AAU tournament. A lot of these kids grew up playing against each other. Now they're in college representing their own institutions. Like, this is going to be very exciting. And in the past, I will say this, and I'll put myself on camera while I say this because I don't want anybody to mistake your thoughts for my thoughts.
Okay.
But in the past, I haven't really been present when it came to March Madness, but this year it has a bit more excitement to it. And I can't wait to see exactly where this tournament will take us. A lot of names are going to come out of this thing, and I think that a lot of great players, aside from the international players that we probably don't know about, but a lot of great players are going to come out of this draft, and I think they're going to make changes at the next level of the NBA.
Absolutely.
So I'm really looking forward to exactly what this tournament has to offer. And I'm gonna really be locked in, man. I know games are being played at 9:30 a.m. and I'm gonna be at work. But at the end of the day, man, I'm gonna have my small screen here.
Good.
You know, all my tasks that I need to do while I'm at work over here. Maybe I shouldn't be saying this online. Actually, yeah. So let's go ahead and move on
I'll
to it, man.
keep you updated.
Please, Peyton.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm a lean on you a little bit,
Sure.
lean on you a little bit more this year because I need to be able to lock in. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk some Florida basketball, man. I can't believe I'm sitting here talking about the Gators. But before we get to that,
okay,
can I say one thing?
Of course.
Okay. All right. It was only 2 years ago where we had two teams from the city of Miami in the Final Four, and they're nowhere to be found. What is happening? All right. I understand that you lost your head coach in the middle of the season, but he probably saw y'all and was like, man, this ain't it. I can't do this. I can't ride out into the sunset with this team. So he had to hop off the ship a little bit early. But we also had FAU in there. Yeah, they probably was a Cinderella story, but by all means, it's been a long time since we seen Lob City come in there and do what they did a few years back, man. Like, Florida, where y'all at? FSU is nowhere to be found in there. No UCF in there. Like, we have all these institutions in the state of Florida, and we can't find 2 teams to represent the state of Florida. All right, we got to actually go with another state school as the University of Florida. I mean, and I'm not saying that as if they're a bad team, but I'm just saying that as in, like, this is really who we have to ride with the whole entire tournament, because there's nobody else, right? Now, yes, will we be watching all the other schools that, you know, that have history? Yes, but that's not who we cover on this show. So give us something to work with, okay? All right, that's all I'm asking. Give us something to work with. But that being said, man, let's go ahead and jump into this Florida team. Peyton, what are some of your expectations when it comes to Florida and how far they can go in the tournament?
So first of all, I love everything you just said, because it is a little disappointing that Florida is the only Sportaholic representative in this tournament.
Yeah,
but
man.
With that said, they might have enough talent to cover up some of the Florida teams that aren't in this tournament, man.
At least I hope so.
They've got talent, they've got depth, they come at you in waves. If you haven't gotten a chance to watch them yet, you'll see what I'm saying. Now, they did get a bit of a tough draw here. If serve holds, or if that, however you say, if the cards fall where they may, as far as the top seeds winning their games, they will play UConn in the second round, the back-to-back champ. So that is a bit of a tough draw. But Florida's immensely talented. They have the requisite guard play. They have the depth in the front court. They've got a really good coaching staff. So, yeah, they can go as far as they want to go. But we all know that it's hard to win 6 straight games in the NCAA tournament, no matter who you are.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Man, I hate the fact that I have to pull for the Gators. I'm not gonna lie to you, but
yeah,
if that's who I have to ride with, that's who I have to ride with. And I'm gonna go ahead and put my pick in early. I won't fill out a bracket. Peyton says he's gonna make me fill out a bracket.
I will make him fill out a bracket.
I won't be filling out that bracket. But if I did, I would just put one pick in, and that would be for Florida to win the championship. I don't care who we gotta play.
Okay.
Line it up. My 5 versus your 5, or 6 or 7. However deep you want to go, pause. But
yeah.
That being said, the Gators to hoist the trophy, and it's been a while since they hoisted the trophy.
I guess 2007,
somewhere around there. Yeah, man. Joakim Noah days.
Yeah, Joakim Noah, Corey Brewer, Al Horford.
Yeah, man, that's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
It's been a while. It's been a while. So,
so I know we are the Sportaholics now. I just got a couple of quick bracket points I want to throw out there.
Oh,
if that's okay.
You're doing some extra credit today.
A little bit of extra credit.
Okay, all right. Let's get into it then.
So Auburn is the #1 overall seed, the highest rated #1 seed in the tournament, right?
Mm-hmm.
Flat out, they've lost 3 of their last 4 games. Lost to A&M, lost to Alabama, and then beat somebody in the quarterfinal, and then lost to Tennessee in the semifinal of the SEC Championship Series.
Yep.
I love their talent. Let's not forget they lost in the first round last year as a 4 seed with a lot of the same guys. I think they're talented enough to win it all. I would just watch out. I think there's a way they need to play in order to win some of these tight games. And there's a lot of pressure on them because they're the #1 overall 1 seed.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the last note I'll just say on this, there's a kid that plays at Alabama, Mark Sears. He's the point guard. I think he should have won the Player of the Year award. It's not going to go to him. It's probably going to be either Cooper Flagg or Janai Broome. He's a fun watch.
Yeah.
Okay. If you have a chance to watch Alabama. And I think his team is most dependent on him for success. Duke, they just won the ACC tournament without Cooper Flagg.
Yeah.
Auburn, I've seen Janai Broome have down games. They still blow a team out. If Mark Sears for Alabama isn't on his A game, they don't really have a chance. But if he is, they're a pretty dangerous team. So those are my other little extra credit points for the brackets.
So I did want to point out, you did say that Auburn was the overall number 1 seed, correct?
Right.
Do you know another team that they lost to that we just spoke of?
Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
All right. So that goes on to
Russ's point,
and
Russ's pick.
Yeah, man. So that being said, man, that is all I have, Peyton.
That's all I have too, man.
Let me go ahead and bring myself in here.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, man. So that was some good stuff. I actually think that and I stand what I said earlier stands true. I think that this is gonna be a tournament for the ages. I think every game is gonna be worth watching. I can't wait to figure out what team is gonna be in the Final Four that nobody had on their radar. Because it happens every year.
Bingo.
So, I'm really looking forward to that. Other than that, man, NFL free agency has been crazy. If you don't know, it's been ridiculous, man. Off the top of your head, who has been one of the wildest acquisitions and free agency?
I don't know why I thought of this guy, but what about C.J. Gardner-Johnson going to the Texans from the Eagles?
Okay.
That guy, whatever team he's on, they win a lot of games. Like, he was on the Eagles when they went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago.
Yep.
Then he's on the Lions when they get to the NFC Championship. Then he's back with the Eagles. So maybe the Texans are a team to watch out for. I don't know. By the way, played his college ball at Florida, so we're keeping it Sportaholics.
There you go.
Yeah.
For me, man, it's a lot of picks out there. But one, I will say, this goes back to something that me and you talked about a long time ago, as in value of the running back position. And Saquon Barkley landing that major contract extension. That has nothing to do with free agency, but he did get that extension. It's so many players that switch teams.
Right. I'll throw one at you, and I'll get your thoughts on it.
Where did Justin Fields go?
The Jets.
The Jets. Oh, I feel bad for that guy. Okay. But go ahead.
What was your initial thoughts on Sam Darnold with the Seahawks?
Yo, thank you for bringing that up, bro. Because I text you. I text you. I'm like, yo.
What are the Vikings doing?
What in the world? You have your best season in years.
14-3.
Your best season in years, and you let your quarterback go? Who was behind Sam Darnold?
So,
okay, let me know.
J.J. McCarthy from Michigan. Now, I'm not super high on him. I'm with you here. I don't really get the move either, but I guess that's their reasoning behind letting Sam Darnold walk.
J.J. McCarthy must have looked really, really good in practices to let Sam Darnold walk. Now, I understand you rather let him walk than pay him because you don't know what's on the other side of the fence, right? But you could have gave him a 2-year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
2 years, 70 to 80 mil total. Would have sufficed.
Man, but you let that guy walk. I'm a little bit upset at that. I was surprised to see that happen. But at the end of the day, he still got his payday. So
he did.
That's all that really matters, I guess, for him, because as a former Jet quarterback, his days were kind of numbered when it came to the NFL. And I think I said this at the beginning of the NFL season when it was make or break for Sam Darnold, and he made it.
Yeah.
He made it. So
that's right.
Congratulations to him.
Yeah.
There was
resurrected his career.
Yeah, there were a lot more blockbuster trades in the NFL. But let me see if I can actually pull up a few before we log out here, because
Okay.
I think this is something that we need to touch on.
Also, y'all, if you guys are still watching, let us know how interested you are in the NFL draft, because as Russ knows, I'm a bit of a draft guru guy. That's kind of my quirky thing that I like a lot. So we can produce more content in regards to the upcoming NFL draft, which is now 5-6 weeks away. So you guys just let us know if you're interested in that stuff.
Man, this is not on I'm looking at ESPN.com right now, but reading through all of this, I just remembered that the Rams let Cooper Kupp go.
That's right.
Man.
To the Seahawks.
Oh my God.
So now Sam Darnold's throwing to Cooper Kupp.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
Okay. All right. So let me see if we could get in here. The running back from the 49ers is going to the Vikings. Jordan Mason.
Oh, Jordan Mason. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of
Juju Smith-Schuster is going back to the Chiefs.
Right. Okay.
Man. This free agency has very interesting. We could talk about them because they're like our neighbor.
Okay.
But the Falcons kept Cousins.
That was interesting because you'd assume that Penix is the starter now. So what? I don't know, man.
Yeah.
That's over. That one's over my head.
I don't think they know what they're doing in Atlanta. They just trying to hold on and figure out what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Juszczyk, is that how you say his name? Kyle Juszczyk, is returning to the 49ers, which is cool because I like that guy. He's pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't think if they would have released him, anybody would have picked him up, but it's good that they bring him back.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's a lot going on here.
Yeah. And still some signings to be made, I believe. There's still some guys hanging out there trying to find a new team. So,
all right, not too much. I don't want to go in too much on it, but
we'll continue to monitor it, and in our next episode, we'll update you guys.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. That being said, let's go ahead and jump out of here. Peyton, that was a great show. Always good to talk ball with you, man. We are entering the slow season of sports. It's almost doomsday when it comes to sports because we have that summer break where nothing at all is going on.
You want to start getting into baseball? I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, I don't at all.
I knew that.
But with that being said, man, let me go ahead and pull me in here. Yeah. With that being said, man, thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate every last one of you for tuning in, watching our show. Peyton, anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Yeah, for sure. We would love to have y'all drive the show. We want to know what you guys are interested in. We want to know if you guys have appreciated this semi-transition into covering the Florida teams and the teams that reside in the state of Florida. So ultimately, you guys are helping us out and supporting us. We want to know what you want to hear about. So feel free to let us know. And again, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. What else you got, man?
No, I couldn't have said it any better than that, man. But please knock at our door on all our social media platforms. Let us know how good or bad we've been doing, exactly what you want to hear. And even if you're not a fan of the show and you just want to provide some critiques or some criticism, please let us know. We're open to all comments, and we just want to get better for you guys and anybody that's interested in Florida sports. So with that being said, man, I'm your guy Russ. That's my guy Peyton over there in the other box. Until next time, let's do it, man. We'll tap in with you guys, talk more free agency next time, and
we'll see how y'all's brackets are doing.
Yeah, by the time we get back to the next show, man, March Madness will be in full effect, and I can't wait to see what happens. Hopefully, Florida doesn't get knocked out in the first round, or well, not the first round, but the second round.
Yeah.
Because that would be terrible for content. So
yeah.
But until then, man, y'all stay blessed, and we'll be at y'all until next time.
Peace.
Yo.